Okay.
Well, Miss Emily Hartley, so
Hi, Charlotte.
does it feel familiar to be in this room?
It does. I spent some hours listening to James tell stories in here,
Some
and
tall tales?
lots of laughter and mystery and fantasy and adventure. And
Oh, so you've
um,
got the wizard side of
I,
the tale to
I
tell. That'd be great.
well, if only I could remember
Oh,
all those.
well, it was like you're partying in 1999.
Right.
Um, so what did this room look like back then when you were here?
It was very similar. I remember there's always been plants. There's definitely more plants than there used to be. This area was he painted in here at that time, so there were easels here, and there was the usual artist kind of mess around that, tubes of paint, and then a lot of my memories are also on the porch out there because that's where I posed for
I
him.
love that.
Yeah.
Well, that porch has seen some days. So you pose for the Angel of Chelsea out there, and on the south end is where he decided not to jump off the cliff when he found out I was a Leo. And lo and behold, 2 months later, he asked me to marry him. So
Sweet.
yeah,
I
it was.
love that.
So here you are.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things about that, the Angel of Chelsea, and that above it is Sam Smith. And that was one of Sam asked James to paint you
Yeah.
as the Angel of Chelsea. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I actually remember the day pretty clearly.
Really?
I was working on the patio as a
At
cocktail
where?
waitress at Chelsea's.
Yes.
And Sam was the owner of the bar that I worked at Chelsea's. Everyone loved Sam. He was a horn player. Um, he was sitting with his friend James. He introduced me, and James asked if I would like to pose to model for some artwork. And of course, I got a lot of kind of propositions like that back in the day, so I didn't think too much of it.
Right.
Um, but then I told a coworker, our friend Nate Huff, and he said, you should think about that. That's quite an honor. He's a really gifted artist. Go up to the gallery and look at his work before you decide
Right.
not to do
Right.
that. I can't remember exactly what I saw, but I remember I left there feeling so
Yeah.
honored. At what I think I was 25 or something like that. Um, and so it began. And so he had given me his number, and I called and said, "Let's do it." And he invited me here. He he could tell I was nervous, I think, and so he opened up some photo albums to show me pictures of previous models, many of whom I knew, who were also naked. So I felt a little better about posing, got
Right.
more comfortable. It was very easy. He posed me on the back porch there and draped gauzy fabric around me to get these folds. And he would take some pictures, then he would come back and he would move the fabric and he would make the folds, and we did that several times, not just that day. I came back and we had another sitting after that. um while well, we can talk about Sam.
I
I
do.
mean,
That's actually, I do want to talk about Sam because I know that it was important that he wanted you a painting of you as the Angel of Chelsea. But one thing about Sam, he was more than a horn player. I mean, he and his brother were serious musicians. I mean, I think they actually played with the Dorsey brothers.
and Dizzy Gillespie, I had heard,
Right.
so yes.
So I know when he was painting this of you, Sam passed away, and he stopped. He stopped painting this painting,
Mm-hmm.
and he painted this painting up there of Sam and the Swing Masters, and he painted that for himself.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Sam.
Sam was so delightful. He played in our house band, so lots of afternoons listening to him play music. I I had a kinship with him. We were, I felt like a special relationship with him.
Yeah.
We both have some Jewish heritage.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
hello.
And when Sam Sam had one of the most beautiful deaths I've ever seen. when he decided it was his time, he just stopped eating. And I'll never forget the last night of his life. He came down to Chelsea's and he danced to the band. I think he was on day 4 or 5 of not eating, and he got up and danced a little jig, and we all kind of knew that might be the last
Right. Wow.
time. And he gave me a gift, and I said, what's this for? He said, I just think you're gonna need it, something to remember me by. And so really beautiful. um, the horn in this painting was added kind of as a after note, is that
Yes,
the
and
right
there's the horn
word?
right there.
As a tribute to Sam.
Exactly.
So it wasn't in the original concept, I believe.
Yeah. What was Chelsea's like? Chelsea's, was it Chelsea's bar? Is it bar and what is it?
I guess a bar and grill
Yeah.
is what it's always
What
kind of
was it
been
like
called.
back then?
It was so different. It was open patio, and that's where I mostly worked. We had a big blooming mimosa tree that time of year, so you could kind of smell that. In the evenings, you could sit and watch the chimney sweep circle, and it was just kind of magical.
Yeah.
It was always music and laughter and love, and a lot of us made some real lifelong connections there.
Right.
It was more than just a kind of hangout bar. It was more of a community center. If people needed something and they came to town and they were hungry or needed a job or a place to stay, that was kind of where we would, okay, find a place for them to go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have great memories of being there, and honored, honored.
So back then, I mean, I know that Sam wanted to have you, do this painting for Chelsea's, the Angel of Chelsea's. But so your first impression of James, I mean, besides him giving you the card, to model.
You know, at first, I think I was a little put off. His appearance reminded me of someone that I did not like. And so that automatically caused some kind of me to be a little maybe not as open
Mm-hmm.
as I would have been. You know, I was 25. I gave it some thought and realized, oh, this is not that person. This is a whole new person.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just so easy, Charlotte. He had a way of knowing um, how to make me feel better. I've always felt very calm around him.
Mm-hmm.
He would make you laugh when you didn't feel like you could laugh. And we became really great friends after. And I continued to visit, and I loved hearing his stories. And he changed the trajectory of my life. He changed how I viewed myself and the
Really?
world around me.
How?
Um, well, look how beautiful, right? I did not feel beautiful at
Aw.
that time. I think I even remember telling him, if you want to lift up my boobs a little in the painting and maybe narrow my hips a little. And
He wouldn't do
he
that.
was like, no, you're perfect. You're
Right.
beautiful, And
Yeah.
so um, I have a copy of this, a print, and when it was gifted to me, I couldn't put it up. I couldn't look at it. I couldn't see myself like that. It took years before I realized, like, oh, this is how he saw me. This is how because he could have painted me any way. I posed a
Right.
lot of different ways.
Right.
I was totally shocked the first time I saw this painting and
Yeah.
realized that he had made me an angel. You know,
Well, how does it, I mean,
so
that's amazing, but how does it make you feel now to look at
I mean, I'm like, who is that girl?
it?
Because that was almost 25 years ago. I'm different now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad for her that she didn't think she was beautiful.
I think that's true of most women,
Right?
young women. I mean, I remember being really young and thought, feeling like a Muppet, you know, and
Just
then you look back on those pictures like, girl, what is wrong with you?
right.
So, some days you're a Muppet and some days you're beautiful. And that's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it like he immortalized me in my prime. I'm so honored.
Yeah.
But even more than this, I'm honored that I got to hear those stories. I got to know him, and he got to know me. And when I was troubled, he was one of the people on my list. You as well. I called in some troubled times, and he would always remind me there's so much more beauty to see.
Yes.
There's so much more beauty. Everything's so beautiful. He always talked, like
Yeah.
he was very visual, of course. I'm not so visual. I'm more kinesthetic and so how things feel. So this painting makes me feel beautiful, empowered.
And speaking of
Um,
that, let me just see that.
so my understanding is that James sold the rights to this and another one of his paintings to Doreen Virtue, who made Archangel tarot cards. So I am now the leadership card. And I didn't know until today that there was another one of his works that was, I guess I hadn't gone through my deck very well.
Yeah, I caught a
So
fleeting glimpse.
yeah.
It's
Um,
amazing that she must have chosen you for the leadership. There you go.
right? Weird.
And now look at you.
Am I? I don't
Yeah.
know. Okay, thank you. No, I'm not sure what I'm doing half
You
the
know,
time.
when I saw you a year ago, and we're just now starting the James Yale Legacy Project, and I knew that people have forgotten him. You know, he, with MS for 35 years, he painted you in the throes of MS, and you know how he shook.
I remember him shaking. Yeah,
You
while I
know,
worked.
to be that precise and that, that perseverance, like the fallen angel of War and Peace. Um, they're living, breathing paintings. And
And
when I saw you all, the three muses, you were all together, and I could kick myself. I didn't photograph all three of you women together.
well, maybe we'll have another opportunity.
That would be amazing because, these are the stories behind the scenes and the tall tales. I mean, that he would, that's why I always wanted the conversations that you all had.
I wish I could remember them all. Instead of the words, I remember just the feeling of like, wow, what an amazing life he had. I mean, his connections to, John Lennon, to, um, he had these stories, and they weren't always about somebody famous. Sometimes it was about being half homeless, or and traveling, and it opened me up in
Hmm.
ways that made me less fearful about doing things like that.
Right.
Well, if he can do it, I can do it too,
Yes,
kind
and
of.
I think that's his real legacy because when we got together, he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And so he taught me about presence. You only have today. You know what? And so I would try to remind people, he could have a really rough evening, sundowning, whether you have a cold or whatever it is. But the next day, that first sunrise, he'd be out there to catch it.
Yeah.
It's a promise of a brand new day.
Yeah.
And I think how we get so involved with, our physicality and you know, it just, the birds are still singing.
Right.
Whatever, you can't fix the world, but you can steal that little moment. And then I've been trying to see farther the way he did because he had that magnifying glass to really look at things. And so now we have these fancy schmancy cameras that you can photograph a little posy on the side of the road and blow it up, and you see this majesty.
Right.
That's the stuff.
Yeah.
That's what his
Vision.
legacy is to
Yeah.
be present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have struggled with that.
Yeah.
So
And so
he,
we do
yeah,
struggle, and then you start over again. Tomorrow's another day.
yep, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you experience any phenomenon around here when you visited?
Not that I can recall. I do remember always feeling like sometimes when he was talking, it wasn't coming from just him. Um, I was very spiritually bankrupt at that time, so I
Hmm.
wasn't real tuned in to anything else. I was just always really focused on the magic that was him.
Hmm.
Um, and I still can't really describe it or label it, or I don't know that I do understand it, right?
Well, I mean, it was that humbleness, and so he wasn't, that's the whole thing about seeing you all the other day. I mean, the other day, a
Here
year
we go.
ago. That was exactly a year after he left planet Earth. And it was almost like a life celebration because all these people came out, and I think some people hadn't known he was not on planet Earth again.
Mhm.
And it just felt like it was such a, I caught so many of you quickly to get, your thoughts and your stories, and I really do appreciate that.
I'm glad I could be there, and I will keep coming back for you because
Oh,
this was a big deal in my life.
it is a
When
big
looking
deal.
back, I'm 53 years old. That at the time I didn't know it was going to be a big deal, right?
Yeah.
But now it feels like there's this.
Well, I look at you every
I
day.
thank you. I mean, I do. It did help me feel beautiful myself, and also to recognize beauty in other women that I hadn't really, like I look harder, I look deeper and recognize that it isn't about what you look like on the outside.
No,
Um,
it
and
is soul to soul.
so,
I mean, that's why you're saying, "Oh, I had all these notes on what we were going to talk about," and I just like having a conversation when we're, I don't know where these little sit downs are going to go, but
yeah,
I appreciate you so much.
yeah. He was special. And when you guys got married, I was thrilled because, both of you are such extraordinary humans. I don't think anybody else in the world would have been right for you except for the two of you
I
together.
when I had my store in Seattle, I have a really good friend, Madame Sandra. And Madame Sandra, we were in our 20s in Moscow, Idaho, which is a college town. So Madame Sandra traipses off to Seattle and she starts Madame Sandra's House of Voodoo. Well, then
In Idaho?
she went to see, we're in Idaho, but then she moved to
Oh,
Seattle.
okay.
That's when she did, yeah.
Okay.
And Belltown. And so then I moved there a few years later, and then she closed it down. She did work at Glamorama. And one day she came in and she had this candle and this piece of paper, and I looked down and it said love spell. I said, oh no, 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 no.
No, thank you.
But I brought it with me to Arkansas, and I thought, all my staff were reverends. We used to marry people under an upside down wedding cake. We had this tagline, always a reverend, never a bride. And so finally I thought, we've married over 500 combination of humans. I should give it one more time. So I actually started crafting what I wanted in a mate.
Oh,
I made the
interesting.
most extraordinary list that nobody could have fulfilled it. And I even put the M word in it, marriage. And so you do this little ritual and then you do this chant every day. I'm in the presence of my beloved, free and willing, blah, blah, blah. And I was working at Oasis and I saw Pam Quick and Richard Quick. And I said, I'm getting married. And she said, to who? It's like, I don't know. And I kept, and I did it on Groundhog's Day because that was when the full
Oh.
moon and all this stuff.
Ah.
So this sounds so crazy,
No, I
but
believe you.
but then I didn't have designs on anybody, and lo and behold, you know, uh, Mr. Yale actually fulfilled everything, and I had put at the very end that we'll dance, joyfully to the end of our days, and he said, "I will dance at our wedding," and he did.
Wow. So I manifested my husband similar way.
You did?
Just made a list. I
Yes.
didn't do any chanting or any spells. I just kind of set my intentions,
Yeah.
and then there he came.
Exactly.
Um,
And that's really what it
so
is just kind of setting those intentions because, I mean, I was 54 years old when we got married.
yeah,
So, see?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It works out.
Yeah, it
Sometimes
works
it
out.
works out beautifully.
Well,
Um,
yeah. Well, welcome back to Yale Lannon Manor.
I love it out here. I feel surrounded by you and his things. I feel his presence. I feel like he would be smiling and
He would
happy
be
and
smiling.
yes. And I felt loved by him, I think some people we had his birthday was on
January
so
31st.
mine was on February 9th, so we had that Aquarian thing to
Right.
connect about. And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he have a grandchild born on my birthday?
Maybe, yeah. Eli has a daughter, probably.
Is her name Emily?
Oh, yes.
So I remember him calling me to tell me that.
Oh, there you go.
And
He wanted to be a
I
dad.
was so blown away by it. That is so weird.
Yeah, he wanted to be a
So,
dad, and it meant a lot to him. It's really amazing that, we're sitting out there, then Allison pops in, so
yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, he was a great man. And I'll read anything you write and I'll watch every video and I'll come to every event. And
well, as I always
um,
say, welcome to the James Yale Legacy Project. I usually shake hands, but
I love you. My pleasure, anytime.
one more thing.
I should add, the very first time I saw this painting, I had left town for several months. I had come back, and someone met me at the door, grabbed my hand, pulled me into Chelsea's bar to show me this painting hanging of myself in this dingy kind of dive bar. And I cried. I cried and I cried, and then I went, why is it here? Someone's gonna ruin it. Get it out of it. Like, it needs to be somewhere else.
Right.
But James said, I want it to hang here for a while, and I want it to get a smoky, maybe kind of patina from the smoke in the bar. And so I had to be okay with that.
I love that. See, I'm glad you reminded, yourself to tell that story, because I never heard that.
And then a customer bought a print of it for me, had it framed, and brought it to me and gifted it to me.
Nice.
James actually paid me for modeling in a t-shirt of his design. So
there's a lot of trading going on with these paintings, and that's why. So these are the things, like, I meet people, and just out of nowhere I figure out where are some of these amazing pieces of art, because I've seen the pictures, but I haven't seen the paintings. We don't know where
they are. Well, we're on a hunt.
We're on the
find
hunt.
them. Yes.
Yeah. And I just love that he hung Sam right above that, because
it's very apropos.
It's really great. He looks amazing.
Yeah. He was a happy man, Sam.
Where was he from?
I think Chicago.
Of course.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I worked for him and his daughter at Chelsea's for many years until I just couldn't do it anymore.
Right.
But Sam, when he passed, they put his ashes in a memorial that is at the base of the stage at Chelsea. So when you go hear a band and it says, play it again, Sam.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yep, he's right there in the heart of the bar still.
All right. Thank you for that extra outtake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.